Welcome back to Patcast, everybody. I'm Pat Monahan, and I'm almost over my sinus infection or whatever it is. Actually, my acupuncturist says that it's stress-related. So I think that's what she said. I can't really understand her. But she's pretty awesome. And nobody can work the magic with those pins like she can.
I'll EQ it out. Nobody will know.
EQ?
No.
Oh, okay. You're going to EQ out my nasally Rudolph voice. No sweat. Pergo's always here to help. We just got back from our second trip to Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks. We had the honor and privilege of performing at the National Christmas Tree Lighting a couple weeks back, and this past weekend was the Christmas in Washington special. You'll be able to watch that performance on TNT on December 20th if you'd like to. If you don't like to, I'll be mad at you. It was a really great time, and what an honor to be there with everybody. I tried to get a selfie with the president, and Mrs. Obama, she stood in the way because she wanted to get a selfie with me. So it didn't turn out, so I'm sorry I can't send it to you. Just a reminder, Train Sail Across the Sun cruise is coming up in February, and as you already probably know, we're giving away 2 sets of 2 tickets that we're going to give away, all expenses paid. So go over to SaveMeSanFrancisco.com and enter for a chance to win. It's an all-expense-paid trip to Florida. Then you get on the boat, and then we sail to Grand Cayman, and then it costs you $5,000 to go from the Grand Cayman to back to port. No, I'm kidding. We'll take care of that as well. Anyway, Michael Fronte, Matt Nathanson, Brett Denon, Secret Sisters, and a bunch of others will be a part of that cruise as well. You may have heard them on the previous Patcasts. If not, you got to go check them out because they're all really, really good, except Nathanson. He's never good. The holiday season is here, and I'm in a generous mood. And this week, the Patcast is a real, real good one. I'm really excited to bring to you one of my favorite artists of all time, John Oates, from the famous John Oates and Daryl Hall, or whatever they call themselves. I think it's Oates and Hall. He was born in New York City, grew up in Philadelphia, and enrolled in Temple University, and that's where he met Daryl, and the rest is history. Together, they became Hall & Oates, one of the biggest, or maybe the biggest pop duo of all time. 10 number 1 hits, 20-plus songs in the top 40, 21 albums with sales in excess of over 80 million. That's insane. Not to mention, these guys were a part of the original Live Aid, and they were on the We Are the World record. Who? John Oates or Jesus? I mean, I don't know who's bigger. That must have kept him pretty busy because John Oates waited until 2001 to release a solo album. And when he sat down with us, he had just finished up recording for his newest solo record. So he continues to be a very busy guy, writing and recording in between Hall & Oates tours and splitting time between Aspen and Nashville. One is a mecca for music, and the other is Nashville. The first time I ever met John was a strange experience for both of us, and you'll hear about that in a minute. We hadn't talked much since then, and I was really excited to find out that he was up for doing the podcast with me. We had a great dinner that night, sushi in Aspen. It was pretty badass. The Jazz Fest is why I was there, and it was on Labor Day weekend. He came by the hotel with his guitar and a bottle of Hall & Oates wine. Tastes a little bit like whiskey. I'm pretty sure it was wine, though. It ain't no Save Me San Francisco wine. I'm sorry, John. He was so great. He did a couple songs. We had a great hang, and he told us some stories that that man has some serious stories, and you need like a 12-part Patcast for this guy. Anyway, you'll hear a lot of them. He told a few more off mic that we couldn't have on the air because this is a family program. It's not really a family program. Have you heard the Matt Nathanson Patcast? But over the course of this interview, I think you'll get a sense of what an incredible life and career this guy has had and continues to have. In fact, if you're coming on the cruise, he will also be performing with us, and that is a real honor for us. Another thing we talked about in this session was how he feels about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A lot of people have made a big deal over Hall & Oates never being nominated. Actually, they are nominated now, and I don't know that they'll make it, but they're definitely not inducted yet. And so John Oates doesn't really seem to care, and I think that that's a really healthy attitude. He takes it all in stride, but sure enough, here he is up for his nomination this year in the Hall of Fame with Daryl Hall, who deserves it probably as much as anybody, including Kiss, who is also not inducted. This group has had so much success and such a huge career, and has seen public opinion of them go from cool to not cool, and all the way back to cool again. It's actually an understatement. They went from really uncool to really cool, and playing some of the coolest festivals. So what a great switch of things, because people are really getting what these guys have stood for all along. They never really changed their vibe, though, and what they stood for, and they just do what they do. They know it's great, and so do their fans, and if you're not a fan of John Oates now, I think you will be after you hear this. So here it is, John Oates on the Patcast.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking at you.
Is that an LG2 or a
B25?
B25.
Yeah, but it's not. It's
I love it.
It's a custom-made B25. That's a J45.
That's what I was trying to
in
figure
miniature.
out. Right.
So it's exactly a J45. And
Can I have it?
I'm sorry, man. That was weird, right?
No.
No, it wasn't weird. I was gonna ask him for it if you
You
didn't.
can
I'll
play
play it later. I'll play it after we. That's nice. How cool is
Geek
this?
Sparing
What
Gifts.
is that?
I thought you'd get a kick out of it.
Oh wow, nice.
It was just
Rich Girl Red.
they made it up for us when we played this winery in Washington.
Oh, that's
So
cool,
just
man.
those-
In Washington?
Yeah, Mary Hill.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They make good
That
nice
was
wine.
Yeah, we just did. That was the last show on the tour, and
Great. Mary Hill is nice.
yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's nice.
Do you drink wine?
Oh yeah, I'm not a crazy. I'm not like Daryl, but I do drink wine.
Because I stopped over at Carl's.
Yeah.
Tried to get some OxyContin, but they wouldn't give it to me. So I settled for a couple of nice bottles of Cabernet if we want to hit it later.
All right, so
Do you wanna run this first, and then we'll know how we do it?
Why don't we just run through it, see how you guys feel about it?
Then
see
we'll
if
just
you-
do
if
it,
you're feeling
if
it.
you
Yeah,
want.
Yeah,
But
sure. Yeah.
record, Hergel. Always record, for God's
Always
sakes.
record.
We might get it. I didn't do any levels yet.
You got this?
You know what I
I
was
just got to
thinking?
get the walk down chords. You're doing
After the modulation.
Yeah, after the modulation. You just do the
C chord to a G with a B in the bass.
Okay, C.
Which is an E minor.
Right,
for
right.
you, and then an A minor 7 to a C with a D in the bass.
Okay. Why am I? So, I heard you go.
Or you can play a D9.
Didn't you do a D7? Yeah.
Nope, a D9.
D9. Okay.
You can put the you
Right,
can put a
right,
D
right,
with an
right.
E on the top.
Okay.
Like this. Yep.
Let's start
Ooze.
with the ooze, and
Yeah.
then we'll do the whole song, and then
Let me just start the groove.
Yeah.
And then when we eyeball each other, we'll do the ooze.
yeah, that sounds
All
great.
right.
And it'll go, and I'm gonna take the high one, right?
You do whatever one you want. Yeah. That's perfect.
Or maybe you're gonna take that.
I'm gonna wait for you. Whatever you sing, I'm gonna sing something else. Hopefully.
All right. Well, this song, just so I can lead it in, is it was a really important song for me coming up as
It's an
a
important
musician.
song for me, too.
This is I bet we'll talk about that.
Right.
I'd love to talk about that afterwards and why that is.
All right.
This is it. It's
Okay.
called "She's Gone."
Yeah.
We're good to go?
Good to go.
All right, here we go. Please. Everybody's high on consolation. daddy trying to tell me what is right for me. Yeah. My daddy tried to bore me with a sermon. Baby, you know it's plain to see that they can't comfort me. No. Sorry, Charlie, for the imposition. I believe I got the strength to carry on. Oh, yeah. I need a drink and a quick decision. No, it's up to me. I said, what will be? And she's gone. She's gone. Oh, I better learn how to face it. She's gone. I paid the devil to replace her. She gone. She gone. Oh, what went wrong? Yeah. Up in the morning, look in the mirror. Yeah. I'm worn as a toothbrush hanging in the stand. Yeah. My face ain't looking any younger. Baby, now I can see love taking her toll on me. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. Oh, I better learn how to face. She's gone. She's gone. I paid the devil to replace her. She's gone. And she's gone. Oh, what went wrong? Yeah. Think I'll spend eternity in a city, babe. Let the carbon and monoxide choke my thoughts away. Alright. In pretty bodies self-dissolve memories. Baby, they can never be what she was to me. Alright. But she's gone. I better learn how to think. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. I paid the devil to replace her. She's gone. I better learn how to face her. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. I paid the devil to replace her, baby. Oh yeah. I better believe. Well, she's gone.
But that's probably not a bad thing. Because I heard she was a real pain in the ass.
Woo! Yeah. Sing it.
Man, John Oates, y'all.
That's great.
Man, you still sing so great, man.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate
That's like a gift that, the gift that keeps on giving to yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, can I just tell you a little aside real quick?
Man, it's not an aside. It's all on
I was
record
talking
now.
to Daryl about his TV show, and I was talking the other day, and I said, "Man, you've had a lot of people, a lot of great singers." I said, "Who'd you feel?" Because Daryl doesn't like a lot of singers. Let's just leave it at that. You were the guy. He said
that's
Pat.
cool,
He
man.
said Pat, man, was boom. He was right there.
Oh, that's
and
so cool, man.
Coming from Daryl, that is a seriously high compliment. Trust
You
me.
guys meant a lot to me growing up, and I didn't realize how much we all have in common. But I wanna go over a bunch of it. And but first of all, holy shit, man, we're hanging out with John Oates. Why Aspen though? I mean, we're here for the Jazz Fest, but
man.
you live here, and you're originally from New York.
Yep.
You went to school in Pennsylvania,
Right.
and you probably did most of your career in the East Coast, and then here you are. Of all places in the whole world, you could live anywhere in Italy or whatever. You're Italian. Why Aspen?
Well, I'll tell you, man. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. But seriously, I went to Aspen. I was a skier when I was a little kid back in Pennsylvania on the little mountains back east, and
I got an opportunity to go out here on a college ski trip, and this place blew my mind. And that was late '60s, and I just was like, wow, what an amazing. And my whole world opened up because I was an East Coast kid and I never really traveled. And I thought, wow, someday maybe I'll just go back, you know. So to make a long story short, I did go back in the late '70s and '80s. I had a condo here, and I made a lot of friends and started to really get a feel.
Started to feel like home, huh?
But then in '88, I got divorced, and I really wanted to leave everything behind me and start over. It was a kind of a weird, it was kind of a cleansing thing. I know it might sound crazy, but I sold everything I had, literally, you know, in the divorce, and I had a car collection and airplanes and all that crap that no one really needs. And I moved out here, and I rode my bike for a year. I lived in my little condo. I didn't have a car, and I started skiing and hiking the mountains. And I said, you know what? I can actually live like this. And I met my current wife, my future wife.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
We got married, we had a kid, built a house.
Oh,
and I
man,
never
good
left.
for you.
Yeah, man.
My ex-wife, she did me the favor of not letting me sell anything. She just said, why don't I just take it all off your hands? And I was like, wow, that's so sweet of you. You should burn in hell. Anyway,
You said
that was an aside note.
You said that, though, right?
No, I didn't say it to her face.
No,
I said it to her attorney.
No, you just said it over the World Wide Web, which is even better.
The World Wide Web. All right, so here are the many questions that I have for you, because
All right.
the first time I met you, you didn't have your facial hair.
Right.
And I think that I offended you because the first thing I said was, man, there's only two guys in rock and roll that are allowed to have the mustache. You and Freddie Mercury.
Oh.
And for different reasons. But
you.
like you and I mean this like in a serious way. Like you look like a badass right now.
All right.
And it's because you have facial hair. And I like you both ways. But I never have facial hair because I don't look like as cool as you. But it was gone for a while and it's back. And what's the story behind it? Because now I hear that you have an animated television show that you're going to be doing called J Stash.
Okay, hold on, man.
Is that not happening?
That was happening. It's kind of like sitting out there on the web, you know, like forever and ever, but never really got any traction. But to get back to that story of why I came out here, the stash got shaved when I changed my life.
Really?
And I wanted to
It was
start
part
over.
of it.
It was kind of part of it.
Oh,
It was
that's
like,
cool.
It was like a ritualistic shedding of the
Sure,
skin.
man. No, I get it.
Okay, you get it? All right,
Totally.
good.
That all makes a lot of sense to me.
That's what I did. and
Because you got to lose, like, you probably didn't know who you were for a while, and you were like, I got to rebalance this whole thing.
Exactly.
I do that in Sedona every once in a while,
Yep.
and I just go for a hike, and I sit up there and I go, I don't know who I'm supposed to be on this next record, but if you could help me out, universe, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, it took me about 20 years to get back to the point where I could actually grow facial hair back again, now I'm kind of comfortable with it because I've kind of attached it to something else. So I feel like it's a new thing. It's an old thing. It's a new thing. Yeah.
Man, well, I think you look awesome right now,
Thanks,
and I
man.
like what you're doing. Tommy Mottola. So when I started
I love where you're going with this,
when I
man.
started at Columbia Records, right? This was, you and Bruce Springsteen, all you guys. You started at CBS probably, right?
No, we were actually on Atlantic, believe it or not.
Atlantic,
In the early
okay.
days. She's Gone and the Abandoned Luncheonette album was Atlantic.
All
We
that
did
stuff.
The 3 albums within, then we moved to RCA.
Oh, RCA.
And then
where did you meet Tommy? Because like he was your manager.
Yes, he was.
And through like the big moments. I mean, when the airplanes,
the
like
big 80s,
moments.
the big 80s.
Yeah.
Tommy Mottola came. Daryl and I met him in a very unusual circumstance. We were signed to a songwriter guy, kind of a producer in Philadelphia, and it was the last vestiges of the old Chubby Checker, Cameo Parkway, kind of real old school music business. We were involved with all those people. Gamble and Huff were just getting started. And this guy basically, didn't treat us very well. And we were trying to get away from him. But we, unfortunately, being the dumb hippies and poor hippies that we were, we signed our life away for nothing. And there we were in Philadelphia, and we had to get out. So basically, we kind of busted out of this contract. And Tommy Mottola was a song plugger at Chapel Music in New York. And we
and a hitman.
Well, he'd like to present himself that way. So we went to Chapel because we were actually signed to Chapel, and we started playing some of our songs. And he freaked out and he said, "Well, who's your manager? Like, what are you guys doing?" And we said, "We were kind of screwed. We're with this guy in Philly. We want to get out. We need to move. He goes, "You come to New York, I'll take care of you."
Wow,
And
great.
That's how it started. Yeah.
So he just took it over,
And then he actually left Chapel and became our manager, and we started.
And that was prior to him running Sony Music.
Oh yeah, way prior. He managed us from 1972 until 1986.
Wow, man!
And,
So when he changed roles into
You
a
mean when he
music,
dumped us?
oh, is that what he did?
Oh yeah, because I don't know where you want to go with this, but I can go. Believe me.
Really?
Oh yeah,
He
I can
dumped
go.
you?
Well,
Like what a dumb dumping.
Daryl and I stopped touring. We stopped recording, and the big '80s were kind of over for us.
Yeah.
We thought, what the hell? We did Live Aid, We Are the World.
I mean, Live Aid and We Are the World,
and
man.
the Apollo Theater
Who
show
dumps
with
them?
with Eddie Kendrick. Well, Daryl and I dumped each other. We kind of looked at each other and went, "What can we do, man? We can't do anymore. Anything we do that's not a #1 record is a failure." So we said, "Why don't we just stop?" And so we stopped. And
But you didn't say, why don't I either kill you or we stop? You guys were cool
No, me
with
and
each
Daryl were
other?
totally cool. Daryl and I have always been totally cool.
Oh, cool.
We have a very unique relationship. But seriously, but when Mottola sniffed that we weren't going to be touring and working, he was like, "Okay," and
I'm out.
He took the job, and next thing you know, he was the president of CBS.
Yeah.
and we were
Big role,
floundering,
man.
and we were floundering, and that's what happened. And that's when I got divorced and sold all my shit, moved to Colorado,
All that.
and
was-
started over again.
What a cleansing.
Yeah, man, I cleansed
Man.
real good.
And you know, it probably did you a world of good. Don't you feel like...
it changed my whole life?
Don't you feel like... I mean, the 80s, I can only imagine that you may or may not have dabbled in drugs. I don't know. I'm assuming you may have.
I dabbled in sex, but dabbled was definitely not be the right word.
Okay.
Immersed,
Right.
wallowed.
Lost yourself in it.
That might be a little bit more accurate.
Because there was a quote I read that
I think the
did
girls
Howard
were taking
Stern. He was.
drugs.
What did you
I
say?
think the girls were taking drugs. I'm pretty sure of that. But maybe not. I really don't know.
Howard was interviewing Daryl, and Daryl confessed that there would have maybe been a time where you guys were shagging ladies in the same room, and this is a quote, I think. He said, "I don't know because I didn't see it all, but I do know that." What is he? He's a German Shepherd in the pants of a Chihuahua.
I know, I know. It's German
not-
Shepherd balls and Chihuahua pants. I know the whole story.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are close, huh? That sounds like something I'd say about Jerry and Pergo. Rough. Man.
Yeah, well, you know.
So, okay, well, that's just... Here's
I guess how it got Daryl wound up. Once Daryl gets going, man, it can get very, very interesting.
Get weird.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
I love it, too.
But here's where we have a lot of likenesses. And I think of a lot of this stuff, and I wonder how affected you are. If you go to the internet and you look up biggest snubs of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you're in there with Kiss and Journey and some of the greatest bands of all time. Cheap Trick. Do you give a shit?
No. Really simple.
How much
No.
of you gives a shit?
Honestly, zero of me gives a shit. I think it's an old boys club. It doesn't mean shit to me.
Man, you know, Pergo and I have this conversation all the time. He's much younger than I am. So he thinks like Rolling Stone magazine and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are two of the dumbest things to ever
Thank you.
want to give a shit about in the world.
Thank you, because but you have to. If you know what though, but just put it in perspective. Take it back to the time when Rolling Stone kind of there was a taste. Rolling Stone and its journalists and that journalist cadre of rock journalists, they dictated taste to the listeners. And this guy's cool. This guy isn't. This guy has top 40 hits, or this band is a top 40 band, so they're not cool.
Right.
My rationale was, wow, if it's so easy to have a #1 record, why wouldn't everyone do it? You know?
Yeah, of course.
But now the whole world's changed. Now the whole generation of people, they don't listen to what some rock journalist tells them.
No way.
They find their own music through their friends, and they search things out, and they discover things. And now what's cool and what's hip is totally personal, and the whole world has opened up. So, but there was a real time when those guys really did dictate, and they are still living in that world.
Right.
But the world has moved on, but they don't know it yet.
Man, amen. And
there you go.
I love Adam Sandler. If I ever listened to a movie critic, I'd never see any of his movies. I need those movies in my life.
Yeah, I mean,
but when I think of like you guys and Journey, it's similar to Train, we're all kind of in this realm of those guys, you know, they're not a lot of well, now there's a resurgence for you guys, but for us we're still in the era of I like those guys, but there's no real big love for us from other musicians and stuff like that. But I think eventually, if we continue to outlast people as you guys have done, like you were invited to Bonnaroo. That's the cool kid camp. It's a big damn deal. There's like all kinds of great stuff that people are like, man, if we could do anything, it'd be like Hall & Oates. Like that's a pretty amazing thing that's happening.
You know, the way I look at it is that I'm really glad it's happening, and I'm very, very appreciative, and I feel like I'm blessed that this is 40 years on and we're still doing this, and I'm playing with like Jim James and doing stuff like this. But the thing is that when I was a kid, if I would have had the opportunity to hang out with Curtis Mayfield and Chuck Berry and Little Richard, I would have been all over it, and I would have been doing exactly what the younger generation is doing with us. So I feel like it's part of the continuum. I think it's how it should be, as it should be. And someday, you know, I think you guys will be there. And you know what the word on you guys is? And I hear this all the time. I've heard it from a whole bunch of people. They said, Train gets kicked off tours because they're too freaking good.
Oh, that's cool.
And no, I've heard it from a bunch of people. They said that's one of the best live bands of all time. And people have said that, and I'm not just blowing smoke. And people said every time they go on tour with something, the headliners go, "What the fuck, man? Well, you know, let's get rid of these guys pretty quick because it's not working for me."
Yeah.
So listen, that's a high compliment, and I think where you guys are now, I think you just, you know, and here again, it's all about the songs.
Yeah,
if the songs
you know,
endure,
like then
you will endure.
I'm gonna write the next record when I go home and travel all over. I'd love to have a chance to come to Aspen or maybe meet you somewhere so we can try to write something cool.
I would love to write with you anytime, any place. Name it, man.
Maybe we could write "She's Gone Still."
2.
Yeah, she's still gone. She's still gone. Okay, so I just wanted to ask you a lot of other things, but what kind of music? I mean, you just mentioned some of the people in your life that inspired you, but like, what were the reasons for you to start playing guitar? Who were your guys or girls?
Well, interestingly enough, and I've kind of been thinking about this lately a lot because people have been asking me questions. I think I was born at the exact right time. I was born at the end of World War II, at the end of the big band era, prior to rock and roll. So my life is a perfect parallel with the evolution of a new kind of music called rock and roll. I was just old enough at 4 years old when rock and roll started, and I actually saw Bill Haley and the Comets.
What do you think? What is the beginning of rock and roll? Who is?
Well, I see it as the early rockabilly and the stuff that was a transition from even like. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example, and you might not know what I'm talking about. Maybe folks won't, but there was a guy named Johnny Ray, and he had a song called "Cry," and his shtick was he used to rip his shirt off, and he wasn't allowed to be. You know, it was outrageous in those days. It was almost proto-rock. It was like pre-rock. And then, were
your parents like, you are not allowed to be around that?
Well, my parents wanted me to sing Italian songs in my uncle's basement.
See, Pergo's Italian,
and I won $20. I won $20 singing Volare in Italian at Wildwood, New Jersey, on the pier. So that was really where I started. But I wanted to play guitar from the very beginning. I think it was Elvis probably, and Chuck Berry that really made me want to play. And you know, the songs were simple enough that you know you could play as a little kid. And I started really young, and then I got immediately into traditional American folk blues and stuff in the late 60s, you know, Son House, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, Mississippi John Hurt, Doc Watson, Reverend Gary Davis, all that stuff. And so that's kind of where I was coming from when I met Daryl, and Daryl brought the doo-wop kind of.
Well, speaking of meeting Daryl, you guys both went to Temple.
Right.
And he was finishing school, you were just starting. So
No, we were 1 year apart.
Oh, you were 1 year apart.
He was going into his last year, and I was going in my third year. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I remember my brother Scott talking about you guys when I was a kid, and be like, "Oh man, what happened was," and everybody thinks that they know all kinds of shit about everybody, but he was like, these two guys were in competing bands, and they met, and they were like, "Hey man, you're all right." Another dude was like,
Yeah, you know
hey
what this
man,
sounds like?
you ain't bad neither.
Hey, this is fucking drunk history. This is like drunk history. You know what? They should do a Hall & Oates drunk history, because that's exactly what it would be like.
Yeah.
Hey, you pretty good. Hey, you pretty good.
Man,
too.
you ain't bad. And so basically, my brother told me that you guys were like, why don't we ditch these other fools and start our own thing? And so that's how your band started.
Very close to true.
And then, did you quit school? Were you just like
No,
this?
Daryl quit.
Daryl quit.
Daryl quit about 2 months before
But you kept
graduation.
going?
I kept going. I got a degree. Yeah.
Holy shit!
In journalism.
He was
yeah.
2 months away.
He joined a bar band. He wanted
Really?
to make money. He wanted to make money, and he wanted to play. And he said,
Well, he's real good, man. You
Yeah,
guys
he's-
are both
he's real
so
good.
talented.
No, Daryl's a monster. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. I stand next to him every night. I know.
It's so cool that you can say that. I mean, it sounds like love. Like, you know, I know that when you're in a band long enough with somebody, there are lots of things you could tell me that you don't love about your partner.
Oh, well.
But that's not going to do anybody any good.
Right.
The good thing is, like, you can find all the good stuff. And that's such a great fucking thing to hear, man.
That's the way you got to look at it. And, you know, look, everybody has their quirks and their idiosyncrasies and their personality issues. And I'm no different, and he's no different. You know, and we learn to tolerate each other. We're like brothers. You know how it is with
I
brothers.
was going to ask, like, what
Yeah.
relationship are you? Friends, brothers, or
it's
yeah,
brothers.
Yeah,
We don't need to see each other. We don't want to see each other. But the moment we are together, it's like time has stopped.
Yeah.
You know, we reminisce, and then I know what he's thinking. I don't have to even look at him on stage. I mean, it's just this thing that happens.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And you know what? That can only happen maybe once in a lifetime if you're lucky. So, you know, I don't take it for
When I
granted.
saw you guys at the Puyallup Fair a couple years ago, man, my family were all just
Yeah.
singing every song. And then Daryl started playing guitar, and he came out. He was playing acoustic guitar, and something was off. Something I don't remember what it was, and he didn't either. And he was like, "Huh." And he thought for a second, and then his guitar tech ran out and put a capo on the third fret. And Daryl was like, "Oh shit,
That's what it is.
that makes
That's
sense."
what it is. It's working now. Yeah, Daryl's a late bloomer guitar player, and he is bound and determined to be a guitar player at all costs.
Oh, that's so funny.
And that's his thing. you
Because
know.
he's such a great piano
He's a
player.
great piano player, but he wants to play guitar. I think he thinks he's cooler when he plays guitar. So
One of the things I read was Sarah Smile did as much damage as good for you by softening whatever it was that you were as a band to maybe keep you out of the cool category. You think that that's true?
Well, I think we were on an interesting trajectory. I think we were. If you look at our first three albums, they're very unique. The first one was Whole Oates, which was a singer-songwriter album, which was very acoustic and almost classical in a way. The second album, A Band and Luncheonette, was kind of this melding of acoustic and Philly. And then we did an album with Todd Rundgren called War Babies, which was really progressive and really extreme and
You
unusual.
still friends with Todd?
Oh, yeah, we see Todd all the time. Daryl just did a show with him, and
I saw Todd do an acoustic show in Marin County at the Marin County Fair. I think he was inebriated beyond belief. He's sitting on a stool playing guitar. I don't think he remembers the show, but I do. It was memorable for me. Anyway, go ahead.
And you know, we did that album with Todd, and we were on this really weird thing where we were like, well, we're not really that popular. We don't really have any hits. We had She's Gone, but it was kind of a college radio hit. So we said, well,
Which keeps you in the cool group.
exactly. And we said, well, there's no mandate or
Yeah.
rule book for us to do anything. Let's just do all kinds of stuff. So if you look back on those three records, even though they were distinctly different, if you combine them all together and all those influences is what we ended up being. So we kind of had that lucky opportunity to experiment and fail, which bands today obviously don't get.
Yeah.
So we were really lucky about that. And then when Sarah Smile broke out, it was that soft rock thing, and then we had such success, and then we had success with Rich Girl, and the record company and the world started to form their own opinion of who we were, and we kind of, you know, you know how it is when you have a hit, you get swept up in that, and so we did that. But if you look at us in the late '70s, after we stopped having hits, we did a bunch of probably our coolest records, Along the Red Ledge, Portable Radio, Ecstatic. They were really unique records with real strange stuff. Then we hit the '80s, and the exact same thing happened on a different scale. We had these hits, and one after the other, and we became pop stars. So we never really set out to be pop stars. We just wanted to be musicians, you know, and it
But
happened.
man,
that
you
way.
were so massive, dude.
Well, yeah, we were.
I
pretty
mean,
big.
all over the world. Crazy. Man eater. One on one, I wanna play that game tonight.
Yeah, we're putting that back in the set. We're putting that back in the set.
Are you?
Daryl dropped it for a while. We have a really good problem. We have a lot of hits. So
Yeah.
we
That's
actually
a
have
good
dropped
problem.
a few, and you know we need to actually.
I love that you play hits, though. I mean, there are a lot of bands that
I know what you mean.
go out of their way to not play hits.
and the dreaded medley,
yeah,
Kiss of Death.
the 15-song medley, so that they don't have to play
If the
any
song
of their
isn't good
hits.
enough to play in its entirety, then why bother?
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, I guess I got to change some things in our set.
Oh, do you do medleys?
No, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to
Whoops.
apologize.
Did I screw up?
Everything. No, man.
Oh, you got me, man. You totally got me.
You know, Jimmy Stafford
Yeah.
in Train was reading a Rolling
I
Stones
see him in Nashville
article.
a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we run into each
yeah.
other, yeah.
He loves you, man. He's such a big fan, and I didn't invite him down here because I don't want you to like him more than me. So yeah, he's in his room. But
You figured Jerry was safe, right?
yeah, Jerry's good. Nobody likes Jerry.
Thanks, man.
So you have how many children?
One.
How old?
He's 17. Just got his driver's license.
What is his? What's his story? What's he into?
Nuclear and particle engineering.
Wow, man.
Yeah, he's a
That's-
brainiac. He's a science
that's
kid.
crazy.
He's going into his senior year, and he's applied to all these heavy-duty engineering schools, and
Like
he's,
MIT and
no,
stuff.
well, he's not quite at that level. He's going to Georgia Tech and Auburn,
Hmm.
looking at those schools, Clemson. He wants to
Wow.
he wants to go down south.
That's all south. That's so funny.
Well, I think he likes the girls down south, and
Yeah.
we like it down south. We've been spending a lot more time in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
So we figured if he's down south, and we're
then you'll
we'll
spend more time in Nashville.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Which
where
we
it's
really
at.
enjoy,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, that's everybody's moving to Nashville
It's
to write
such a great
songs.
town.
And,
Such a great town.
yeah,
Love it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But he's not a musician.
No, he had lessons on every instrument: drums, bass, guitar, and piano. And he never. But he loves music. He likes 40s music. He likes big band.
Wow, crazy. You know, you can't underestimate young people.
You don't know where they're going to go. You just got to give them everything you can give them, and then just hope for the best. And
Right.
yeah, he's a good kid. He's a real good kid. Just got his license, so you know, we haven't seen him all summer. So.
Yeah, you're stressed now. So does he smoke an enormous amount of marijuana?
No,
Really?
he makes Obama. He makes Obama look like Bush.
Wow.
He's a right-wing conservative redneck.
Your son is?
He likes shooting. He likes
What the-
guns.
It's so funny. My older son loves that shit too. Where did he get that? I don't fish. I don't fish. I eat salmon because it's at the store.
Yeah, he likes guns, trucks.
Yeah.
Big band music, and
You got to get rid of that kid. You got to trade that kid in. Man,
I think his eyes are
What
gonna
about your
open up.
wife? Is she similar to
she's
that?
a farmer.
She's a farmer.
Yeah, she
love it.
comes from a farming family in Illinois. Her dad's,
Outside of Illinois, you said?
Yeah, in Illinois,
Oh,
south
cool,
of
man.
Chicago. He's a working farmer, soybeans and corn and all that.
Oh,
so she
yeah,
grew up
that's
on a
great.
farm. So we have a rescue ranch. We've got all
I got
these
nothing but
unusual
respect
animals.
for farming, man.
Yeah.
Those people work hard.
And so she loves it, and she's always rescuing llamas and emus
Oh, yeah.
and all kinds of weird shit.
Well, now you know where your son came from.
Sort of.
From Illinois.
Does that make any sense? Yeah, he's actually more like his grandfather on my wife's side.
It's funny. My first son is like his grandfather on
Right.
his mom's side.
He can do anything with his hands. Can build anything, make
that's
anything.
cool.
He's got a workshop, the whole bit.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about your solo stuff a little bit,
Okay.
but why don't we run
Yeah,
the
yeah.
song
Sure.
and then we'll get into a
Okay.
little bit more about that, and then we'll wrap it up with a few questions, and we'll be good.
In fact, I brought an album for you, a CD
Awesome.
that I put
Okay,
together
cool.
for Japan. So I'll give it to you when you're done. Do you have the words to this?
I have the
printed them
words.
out. Oh, okay, great.
I was just gonna do some of the background singing. You know this.
I'm doing this in A, by the way.
Yep, that's
it's in
what I
B
got
flat
the-
on the record.
yeah, I got the text.
Yeah, okay, cool. What'd you think of that chick singing on this record?
Great,
Is she
man.
badass or what?
She's a
That's
really-
Wendy Moten. She is fantastic.
Yeah, she's good,
God,
dude.
she's great.
Did you make that record in Nashville?
Yeah. Yeah,
Where?
At Teddy Morgan's studio, the guy who I co-wrote it with and co-produced it with.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's Kevin Costner's musical director,
Oh.
and he did. Did you see Costner's miniseries Hatfields and McCoys by any chance?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he did the music for that.
Really?
Yeah, he's a really cool guy, and his wife is my wife's best friend from grade school in Illinois. It's weird, right?
That is nuts.
I know.
That's really weird. So when you get together, you're just like,
Well, we have known each other for quite a while because of the girls, but we never worked together because he was always on the road with Kevin and whatever. And then when we moved to Nashville, he lives there, and we said, man, now's our chance to get together. And he's the guy that introduced me to the My Morning Jacket and Jim James and those guys. And so it's been real nice. You know, it's been really good. Opened up a whole new world for me. So you want me to run it down? Just kind of give you a general sense of what we got.
I think I got it with you. Let's just try.
Okay, I'll just you want to go over the chorus?
sure, yeah.
Because we can do harmony on the chorus if you want. Well, let me just run it from the top so I remember. So, are we recording or you just want to?
It's all tracking. And then
Oh, we'll just go.
Roll the whole
Right?
time, I'll edit it
Cool.
later.
All right, here we go. When I call your name, I keep reaching out. I can't ease the pain. Can't stop thinking about how this story might end. So I just keep on waiting. I just keep on praying that you'll be on my morning light. Your love will save me. Save me. And when I'm lost in the dark of night, come on and save me. Come on, save me. Though I know I might have lost my way, what is here right now might be gone today. I won't give you up, but I can make you stay. So I just keep on waiting, I just keep on praying. You know that you are my morning light. Come on, love will save me. Your love will save me. And when I'm lost in the dark of night, come on and save me. Come on, save me. Come on, come on. You know that you are my morning light. Oh man, yeah, and I'm lost in the dark of night. Come on and save me. Come on, save me. Come on, save me. Yeah. Come on and save me. Wrap your arms around me, baby. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. You're the morning light. Morning light. Oh, save me, baby. Save me, baby, in the middle of the night. Morning light. Oh, come on. Yeah. Come on. Come on, save me. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Save me. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on and save me. That's right.
gospel. That's old Philly style.
Country Philly.
So solo stuff.
Yeah.
Do you need the balance Is that what it is?
Well, I just what I found when I moved to Nashville and I began to kind of get in with the community there and make some friends and stuff, I felt like some way I was coming home in a way. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but because I did start out very acoustic and bluesy and folky, and I know all that traditional American stuff, and all of a sudden there was this community of people, people like Sam Bush and Jerry Douglas and people like that, and I was like, wow, man, I can. This is what I used to do way back when, and they were kind of blown away that like, well, you actually know these songs, So then I said, wait a minute, maybe this really is who I am. Because in a group and after years and years of being in a partnership, you kind of lose your self-identity in a way, and you become part of something greater than yourself. So, in a way, I kind of rediscovered myself. But then I said, but you know what? I shouldn't abandon my pop influences either. So I tried to figure out a way of taking those rootsy things and keeping in mind what those pop sensibilities that make people want to hear a hook, and little by little I've been getting closer to it. On this project that I'm doing now, I think I've finally kind of got there.
Yeah, cool.
I've got some songs that have these really cool hooks, but at the same time they're rootsy and kind of
I think of
organic.
But I think of Nashville as a preservation. It's where people go to preserve what they thought was valuable about music. And so there are a lot of incredibly popular artists there right now that live on pop radio. But for the most part, the whole town is people that have preserved within themselves their love of what they came up on musically. And they go there, they write songs for themselves, for other people. My vocal hero as a kid was Robert Plant. He's there doing the same thing. Yeah. He's on the preservation. And so I just find it to be a very interesting place, unlike any other in the world.
I agree.
And I think that you found a great home, because there's got to be thousands of people just like you that you can play guitar with every day and write with and have the same conversation that you would want to have, like with your family, and it's like family.
You hit the nail on the head, and it's not only the musicians themselves, and the songwriters. It's the entire infrastructure that surrounds them. It's the engineers, it's the studios, it's the guys who do cartage, it's the amp repairman, it's the guys who fix your guitar. They're all on this level where they all want to be as good as they can be and help make the music as good as it can be. And it's incredible. Like, I mean, you need an accordion player who plays the cello at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, good chance you're going to find him,
Yeah.
And
all you need is a bottle of Ripple and
and a good relationship with the musicians union.
Yeah.
But seriously, and the studios are available. I mean, you can always find a place to cut something if it's not in someone's house or garage. It's in Blackbird.
Yeah, many of my good friends, John McBride, who owns Blackbird Studio. He's a wonderful guy.
Have you had a chance to record in there yet?
I did a little bit of work there.
It's a dream.
Man, it's amazing.
We did a whole song.
What's that?
We did a whole Christmas.
Yeah, we did a Christmas song. What am I thinking? Yeah, but I needed to record this demo thing. Anyway, but there's so many great rooms there. And the whole town, magic. And my friend Butch Walker. Yeah. And Butch Walker was very influenced by you guys as well. He, when he toured with us about 3 years ago, or maybe even 4 years ago, we went out and did all these clubs around the country. And he did Rich Girl every night. And so I came out as you. And I put the awesome mustache on. And I got
black jacket and everything.
And a black.
Did you get laid, man?
Did I get laid?
Did you get laid?
I got laid a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. Butch and I had sex every night, as you and Daryl. It was weird in a lot of ways.
No, now it's way too weird.
Yeah, it was good for a while. That's way too Rich Girl for me.
It was good for a while.
But like that song, man, what a great song. She's a rich girl.
Oh, yeah,
that shit was like so big for me as a kid.
That's an amazing song.
All right, so I don't want to keep you any longer because I want to go eat some sushi with you.
Too.
But I got this list of last final questions.
Okay.
It's a crossbreed of my wife and.
Wait a minute. Can I promote my new project?
I'd rather you didn't. Of course, man. Tell me what it is.
I was
Did you get
hoping
a
you'd
new-
take me there. I
of
came
course.
up with this idea that, obviously there's not a lot of people buying albums anymore, and I said, why don't I just do a series of singles and see where it takes me?
I read this. Yeah, so you're putting a
called-
single out
it's
every month.
Every month. It's called Good Road to Follow, and I kind of front-loaded it with 20 songs.
Where can people go to? Is it iTunes or is it
iTunes, johnoates.com, hallandoates.com, Amazon, and they're all digital at this point. There's nothing physical, but I will compile them into a physical CD probably in February. But I just thought, and then what happened was, and to make a long story, I don't want to belabor it, but
No. But then when we put this on, I'll
You'll edit
back
it.
sell it and sell it in the front. But yeah, we'll get rid of this section.
I knew it was coming. But I realized that, wait a minute, if I'm not making an album, I don't have to think about flow and continuity and consistency. So I said, wait a minute, I can do a song with Sam Bush. I can do a song with
yeah.
Ryan Tedder. I can do a song with Vince Gill. And I said, wait a minute, this is a whole cool thing.
Oh, yeah, that's
so when
a really
I reached
cool
out
thing.
to these folks, everyone's like, oh, God, I'm not going to take his call. He's asking me to produce their album or something. And I'm like, dude, all I want to do is write a song with you and record it. We'll do it in one day.
Yeah.
And if it's no good, then don't worry about it. And if it's great,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And so everybody kind of jumped on board with like, oh, this is more fun because there's not this long-term commitment and all this thing. So it kind of freed me up, and it's been really a lot of fun. And I've got a chance to meet and become friends with and work with these incredible creative people. And
Well, that's why I
it's
do
been
this
awesome.
podcast.
Yeah, man.
Like I wouldn't be able to hang out with you otherwise. You
There
know,
you
what I mean,
go.
maybe you
Well,
and
I
I
would've
would go
come
have
over.
dinner or
I
whatever.
would've come
but,
over anyway,
But few people would.
Right.
Like I'm very unlikable. So the only way for me to do this is to have a thing. But have you met Vince Gill? Are you friends with Vince?
I did a song with him on the album, on the project.
Because that guy,
No,
like,
forget it.
He's not so kind of talented.
He's so good.
and he's a scratch golfer. I could go on and on and on. If you want to
Vin-
dislike Vince Gill, I
No,
will keep telling you all the great things he
It's impossible
does.
to dislike Vince Gill. I've wanted to work with Vince for so long. I became friends with him, and I did a couple in the rounds acoustic things with him. And I approached him and I said, Vince, will you want to be part of this project? He said, first we got to write a good song. I said, you got
Yeah.
that right. So I went over to his house, and he has this unbelievable collection of acoustic and electric instruments that'll blow your mind. And he said, pick one. So I picked a 30s Gibson or something. Sat in his living room. I had a title called Don't Cross Me Wrong. And he said, it sounds like a badass blues. I said, you got that right. So we started playing it. We wrote the song in about an hour. And I said, what do you think? Did we make the cut? And he went, let's record it. So he and I chose the band. We handpicked the players. We did it in his living room at his studio. And Becca Bramlett sang backgrounds with us.
Have you released that song yet?
Yes, it came out in July.
Great.
It was the July single.
Okay,
and the
awesome.
single that's out now is a song I did called Let's Drive. I did a song with Hot Shell Ray with the
Oh,
pop
that's
band.
great, man.
That
I
came
love
out in
those
June.
kids.
So every song's different and
Yeah.
has its own vibe to it.
Of course.
But Vince blew my mind. And he didn't
You know,
wanna-
Vince, like that bridge, that falling in and out of love with you, don't know what I'm
know.
gonna do.
He's a
Man,
monster
what
singer,
an
monster
incredible
guitar
song.
player, and an incredibly nice guy.
Yeah,
It's
the
a- it's
sweetest.
an- it's an
when I
amazing
met
package.
him, I was like, man, I couldn't like you less. Like everything about you is amazing. Like you're the sweetest person I've ever met. You play guitar, you sing like an angel. Like your guitar is you're incredible at guitar, and. Then he told me, "Oh, I'm a scratch golfer too."
Yeah,
and
by
I
the
was
way.
like, "I'm gonna put cyanide in your drink." Like
He's
that's
got
enough.
He's got a putting green in his backyard. and
Does
all
he?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's an amazing kid or amazing guy.
He
and
didn't want to play guitar on the track we cut.
That's nuts.
And he said, "Well, you're gonna play the basic part, which was kind of the riff that we wrote it around." And he said, "We'll get Tom Bukovac and we'll get this guy Colin Linden, who's this amazing slide guitar player." I said, "But what about you?" I said,
Yeah.
He goes, "We can't have 4 guitar players." I'm like, whatever. So we cut the track without him. He was kind of producing.
That's crazy.
And then at the end of the night, we realized no one did a solo. I said, "Vince, come on, man, just burn a solo."
And it was nuts,
He picked
right?
up a 335, plugged it into this little amp. Nothing, no effects, nothing. And he played this solo. Well, you'll hear it. I'll give it to you. It's like, I was
No,
like...
I'll get it. I'll get
I was
it
like,
myself.
Thank you, man. Well, I got it for you. I got
Oh,
it for
you're
you.
going to give it to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, I love those stories.
You're gonna tell the
It's like,
story, I'm
that
gonna
feels
give
like I want to be there.
It was fun.
Did you document all this stuff? Like No, you didn't have a guy. Yeah.
See, unlike you young bucks who have integrated the media into
It's hard to
medium
integrate.
into personality.
It's hard to do it.
I am still pretty
You didn't
old
get
school.
there. All right.
I was afraid if I had a camera guy, I would be thinking too much and
Yeah, you
worrying
might-
about my,
you might be right.
my fabulous stash. And
I love
stuff.
your stash, man. All right, so I'm gonna throw these last few questions at you, and then I'm gonna tell you when this goes up, I'll make sure that your website
Absolutely.
and everything
We
are out
will-
there
we
ready
will
to go.
put it all out there
I'll
as
plug
best
the
we can.
shit
You
out of
got it,
everything
dude.
you got.
You got
I will
it, man.
plug holes in everything you got.
Come
all
on.
right. Do you have a favorite song of yours that you wish more people heard?
Yes, a song called "Alone Too Long," and funny you should ask. It just became the theme song for a new HBO series.
Wow,
called
amazing.
"Hello Ladies," which comes out.
It's called what?
"Hello Ladies."
Oh,
I heard
nice.
about that.
It comes out in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's like,
so
hello, ladies,
your wish is
right?
your wish is about to come
It's
true.
about these two geeks who try to hit on chicks in New York, and they're not too successful.
Isn't it the guy from The Office?
It is. It's the guy from The Office.
The big tall guy. Right? Yeah.
Do you have a favorite unknown song by someone else? Something that others wouldn't really know very well.
I wish people, and I'm sure lots of people do, but would listen to some of the Curtis Mayfield stuff of the '70s when he was into his more social rights stuff. He did some amazing things, and there's a song by Marvin Gaye called "Trouble Man" that I think is just a masterpiece among his many masterpieces.
Yeah, among his many. Do you have a most memorable gig that you would like to forget?
Yes, there was a folk club in Philadelphia that we used to play in our folky days before we did the War Babies album with Todd Rundgren and turned into Rock Stars from Outer Space. And we showed up at this folk club because we used to play it all the time, and they booked us. Except we had satin jumpsuits and we were playing like heavy metal. And in those days we'd do two shows a night. So first show we did, my parents came to the second show, and when they came to the show, they sat down at the little table. On the napkin was written, "These guys suck."
Oh,
so I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow. And you still remember like all that time ago. You have a most memorable gig that was a positive? Is a Live Aid in there?
Live Aid would have to be way up there. I'll say Live Aid was pretty spectacular because we played with Jagger and Tina Turner, and we brought out Eddie Kendrick and David Ruffin from the Temptations, and we did that Temptations thing,
Incredible,
like we
man.
did at the Apollo Theater. So that was pretty. Well, that was the biggest rock concert in the entire world at that time. Of
course.
So it was that was pretty heavy duty. But I would say Bonnaroo this year with the
Oh,
Super
that's
Jam
cool.
was that was something I'll never forget.
Oh, great.
Really
well,
good.
man, I love that you're still having current things happen that are filling your bucket. An idol that you're afraid to meet. There's somebody that you haven't met yet that you're just kind of glad that you haven't, because just in case there's a real prick. What is it? Me?
No, he said idol.
He said idol.
Oh, not
Jared gets
a-hole.
one in.
Not a-hole. Not a-hole. Idol. Okay, sorry.
Not really. I met some. Most of the people I've met have been really great.
Yeah.
I don't think I have an idol. No. Unfortunately, if I had an idol, they've passed on. But maybe
right.
I'll meet them one of these days in the great beyond.
You got a Desert Island album that you?
I got a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Joni Mitchell's Blue,
Really?
the band, the Brown album.
Hey, speaking of tomorrow when we play, would you consider coming out and doing the wait with us?
Absolutely.
Ah, that'd be amazing.
Hell yeah.
I didn't know if you were going to be around tomorrow or whatever.
yeah, I'm coming.
But we'd love to finish with the wait and have
I
you
would
come out.
love to play.
Oh, that'd
if
be
you want
great.
me to play, man, I'll come.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because we
Just set me up with an amp and I'll plug in.
That'd be great. You can.
Yeah. G.
We do it in A.
Okay.
Rolling to Nazareth, was feeling about half past dead. I just need a place where I can lay my head. Well, hey, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? It's been shook my hand, no was all it said. Take a load off Annie, take a load for free.
You want me to sing under you?
Take a load off Annie, and you put the loader out on me.
Light on. Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Got it.
Yeah, man. We'll get it together tomorrow. It'd be awesome. Those are great records.
Do I get
Joni
to do
Mitchell.
the Robbie Robertson thing?
Anything you want.
Okay, man.
You mean steal all of our publishing?
No, I meant the Telecaster thing.
Nick the Robinson podcast.
Do you have a
Nice.
do you have a favorite experience with an opening band while you were the headliner, and then a favorite experience as an opening band?
Yeah, I've got a number of favorite opening band experiences. We opened for David Bowie's first show in America. On
Dude, are you shitting
on
me?
the Ziggy Stardust Spiders from Mars tour. And I swear to God, we were in our folk mode, and we didn't know what he was doing. I had known his previous album, which was kind of like little kind of folky.
Yeah.
And when I saw him backstage with the shaved eyebrows and the orange hair and the giant platform shoes and the whole band, I was like, what is this? And then I had made the mistake of taking a Quaalude. So I went out in the audience and I sat down to watch the show, and the show started with the theme from 2001 and strobe lights, and then they came out as the Spiders from Mars, and I'd never seen anything like that in my life. It was a totally life-changing experience.
Was it a positive one?
Yes. Well, I think it was. I can't remember, but I believe it was.
I made
It was
the
in St.
small
Louis.
mistake
It was in
of
St.
taking
Louis.
her Quaalude.
It was awesome.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was.
And so,
amazing.
how about as a headliner?
Well, no, but the opening shit is way better. We opened for Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks and Cheech and Chong for a whole tour.
Wow, Cheech and Chong, amazing.
And Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks used to play strip poker in the dressing room with the girls while they were smoking joints, and that was the most fun tour of all time. And Cheech and
that's
Chong,
cool.
That was freaking
Man, that
awesome.
must have been so amazing. I remember listening to all those albums.
And
man.
then
with
Ginger,
Fifi.
Ginger Baker tried to kill us
Wow, that's
when we
amazing.
opened for him. That was
I mean,
great.
you can't blame him.
Well, he's kind of crazy. You
Why
can't
would he
blame
try to
him.
kill you?
Well, he didn't. I guess he didn't like us. or
Wow.
something.
So
Well,
he was
Do you know
like-
anything about Ginger Baker?
Was it Traffic
No.
or Cream or what
No,
band?
just Ginger Baker
Just Ginger.
doing that thing that he did, like in between nothing. Where he was like some weird jazz,
Mickey Hart stuff.
Oh, boy.
jazz experimental. Yeah.
He must have been really on some hardcore stuff. You have your least favorite experience as an opening band,
Ooh,
and then I just have one more.
that'd be the Ginger Baker thing. I think we'll get back to that.
Yeah, that must have been
Yeah,
a bummer.
that wasn't good.
So you were opening for Cream?
No,
No, you were opening for Ginger Baker.
Baker.
Oh boy,
University of Pennsylvania, 1972.
UPenn, dog. We were there just a little while ago. Played with John Legend. It was
Nice.
John's a graduate of UPenn.
Yeah, yeah,
He's a
yeah.
smart kid.
Yep.
My last question is your most unusual location for a gig that you've ever done.
Right here.
Yeah.
Well, tell them where we are, at least.
Yeah, we are at the Jerome
We're in the
Hotel.
fabulous Jerome Hotel here.
This is a really lovely hotel.
It was just renovated this year. And
It's,
this is the original hotel from the silver mining days.
This is a really...
Can I tell you another funny story about this hotel? When I came here in 1968, I bought pot in the hallway of this hotel. The rooms were $2.50 a night.
Wow.
And the wallpaper was hanging off the walls.
Wow.
And I wandered around until I found some hippie. And yeah, this was like a dump. It was.
You got stories coming out of your everything, don't you?
You don't know, man.
I
We
mean,
gotta, we got to
you
spend a little
wanna-
more time together.
You want to throw one more story out at some people, like just something that
there's
something
just-
that maybe will jeopardize your future as an artist.
And I've not done that yet. I've not done that yet.
I told you not to do this. I was like, please do the podcast, but I wouldn't if I were you.
That was the warning I got. No, I mean, we just have to hang a little bit, and
Cool.
the stories will flow. They'll
Well,
flow
I got to
naturally.
say, man, I do a lot of podcasts now, and kids just coming up, like One Direction and guys that are still young in the game, and and then guys in the middle of the game, and I think that you played this game. You played your hearts out. And I'm so glad that you did, because you inspired guys like me and Butch Walker and Jerry and Pergo. He's not inspired by anything, but guys like us that are making a difference in the world. Actually, well, to get back to the truth
I'll
is,
edit all this out.
Yeah.
you did such great work, man.
Thanks, man. I
And
appreciate it.
like you made music better. You made the world better.
Well,
Like
that's-
the world needs this positive vibration, and you're bringing it. And so you did that for a long, long time, man. You should be real proud of that.
Thanks, man. I'm glad. I think we're all doing it, and that's why that's hopefully the motivation for doing what we do. All the other stuff is just you know, the other stuff is just the gravy and the icing and the gifts that happen afterwards. You know,
Yeah.
you just got to want to do it for the right reasons.
Yep. Well, thanks for teaching us so much about good music and how to do it the right way. John Oates, everybody,
All
from the great John Oates.
Phew. Good one. That was fun, man.
Thanks, man.
All right. That was John Oates. Such a lovely guy. What a great musician, a great writer, and what a legend. If you want to know more about John Oates, you can go to johnoates.com. And I think you can hit him on Twitter at John Oates. And it's Oates with an E. So it's Oates. And it's John. And if you want to know more about me, you can go to Patcast Podcast at Instagram and Twitter, or patcast.com. There you have it. Patcast number 7. All right. See you guys later. Bye.